it would be like to be like somebody else. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. People do it all the time. But is it really something we should be doing? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to Georgia D. Come Talk With Me. I don't know why I have to say it with an accent when I do, but I do. It's just kind of a package. It goes along with it. So, yeah, I have to say it with a southern accent for some reason, except I did not grow up in the South. But, yeah. Okay, so I actually recorded a podcast earlier this week with a friend, and during that time, I did not have my headphones to listen to, like, what I sound like, and it's actually kind of crazy when now I'm using the headphones again, and, like, hearing what I sound like, and all the other noises in the room, and how well you can hear, and just how ridiculous, like, I don't know, it's just, the microphone is just amazing, and it picks up everything, like I'm breathing, and you can, like, hear it. It's ridiculous. And I think last time we recorded this podcast, it's like, you don't realize how much it picks up, and it's a little embarrassing, like all the other previous podcasts. I guess I didn't have this microphone, and so maybe it wasn't picking up as much, but maybe it was, and I just never realized it. Anyways, it's a little crazy. Okay, so yes, I'm listening and talking, and it's kind of crazy. Anyways, okay. Today's podcast, I wanted to talk about, this is actually something that I have thought about growing up. You know, when you're in your, like, tween years and you're, like, in the thick of comparison, you're in the thick of pressure and all these different new things pressing down on you as you're growing up, and you know, you're learning so many new things, and so much pressure, and from friends and family and teachers and everyone from all different directions, and you want to please everybody, you want to be friends with everybody, you want everybody to like you and to appreciate you and to value you, and but you know, that doesn't really necessarily go away as you get older necessarily. You can think through a lot more and have more reasoning and have understanding, of course, but more so than that, above all of that, like, there's this love that comes from God that can take away all of that worry and fear of comparison, fear of failure, fear of if you measure up to be enough, or fear of rejection, all these things. The Lord takes that away when you begin to know Him intimately and deeply. And I'm not saying that you won't ever struggle with it again, even when you come to know the Lord intimately and deeply, but it's more of so like, oh, well, you're reminding yourself, okay, you may come into an opportunity where you might not always have to come into an opportunity, but maybe you randomly, very in a blue moon, come in contact with an opportunity, and it's like, oh no, you know, I know who I am in Christ. I am valued. I am worthy. I am chosen specifically by God. And anyways, I'm starting with the end for a very specific reason, because I want to talk about, I was thinking about it, and I was going to bed one night, and the Lord, you know, brought this up. I'm pretty sure it was the Lord, because I wasn't really thinking anything. I was just trying to like go to sleep, and I couldn't really fall asleep, and I felt like this question, of course I have to yell on that. The last podcast I recorded, I haven't put it out yet. I'm going to put this podcast before the next one, even though I recorded them reverse. This thought came to my head, and it was something that a thought has come to me growing up. And then when you go through the really strong comparison years of your life, and even as an adult, I have thought this before. If you could be someone else, would you? Or would you be yourself? And it kind of made me think of that movie, It's a Wonderful Life, because if you don't know the story, I feel like I've compared other things to this, but maybe it's just this comparison thing. He doesn't necessarily want someone else's life. Well, he wants a different outcome, maybe. He wanted to travel the world, and it didn't really work out. He ended up running the family business, and his wife kind of wanted to live in this old rundown house that they had to rebuild. She wanted to rebuild, and then his business ended up failing. Ended up going bankrupt. I mean, the banks did, and he owned a bank, and then he was like going to commit suicide, and then his angel comes and gives him a new chance. Well, he kind of messed with him, and I forget what the guy's name is, but he said he wished he'd never been born. And then the angel said, "Oh yeah," as if the angel was talking to the Lord. He said, "Well, let's try that." And so he ended up never being born. So he never married his wife. His kids never existed, and his parents didn't have any kids, or only had one kid, but he died because when his son died, the sibling that wanted to commit suicide, the one that, never was born, wasn't there to save him, because he saved his brother from drowning 1 year growing up. It's just I have goosebumps talking about it, because this person made a huge impact in the city that he lived in. He made a huge impact in hundreds of people's lives. So he goes throughout his city, and everything is completely different. He helped so many people that his city was just horribly trashed, and people's situations were way worse, really rough and really hard, and people were just way better because he was there, and he made such a big impact on so many different people that his life made a huge impact on the people around him. And so all that to say, that this question kind of presented that, how much we truly impact the world around us. And it sometimes doesn't really feel like it's that much, or that the world hasn't changed, but I really think this movie has a point, Sorry, I had to take a drink, and I didn't want it to be recorded. Me taking a drink. Yeah. So, anyway. I think this question has come up in my mind a lot. I mean, you'll see somebody with, maybe a certain situation that you desire, or a certain outcome, a certain spouse, a certain lifestyle, a certain job, maybe the kids that you want, or the house that you want, or whatever. And I think specifically growing up, it's very difficult to not want what they have. I remember my friends all having all the different Abercrombie and Fitch and American Eagle clothes that they ever wanted. And I often didn't have that. I would buy one outfit every year with, my mom would buy, they would buy, my parents would buy one outfit that's new, and then the rest I had to buy myself, or it was hand-me-downs from my cousins. And, I think that made an impact, or that was maybe the start of wanting to have what other people had and comparing myself to other people. And me having so many siblings, really impacted that. I'm thankful for my siblings. I would not want my siblings by any means just because of clothes or things I had. Definitely not, because I think having a big family is so important. I mean, I personally want to have 4 kids because I have always loved having a big family, and having so many cousins was a dream, and I would never want anything different. I loved my childhood years, honestly. And I think having a big family played a part in that, and then having a big extended family, because everybody was about having at least 4 kids, which that adds up quick. So yeah, I think the things that I was thinking about was, like, who would you want to be other than yourself? Would you want to be famous and have all the fame in the world and everyone knows your name, and then probably a lot, what would come with that is probably money, and because of XYZ talent, or a talent or a skill that you have, and then you have all the money in the world, and everyone knows you. But then oftentimes what I've seen, I've never experienced this myself, but with fame and potentially money, not just money, but mostly fame, the money comes with being famous, right? So in this case, you don't always have to be famous to have money, or have money to be famous. Have money to be psychology type stuff right here. Philosophy, I guess you should say. Not everyone that has fame, I guess, necessarily has money, but almost every... No. Okay, not every case is like this, but if you're famous, a lot of times, you'll probably have money, at least at some point. Maybe not the whole time, maybe not later on in life, depending on how you use it, but at some point you would. So, but what I've seen with these type of situations is that sometimes, most times, people end up not being able to trust certain people or trust very many people because they're afraid of if they'll want to be friends only because of what they can get from them, or maybe just it's difficult going out in public because you can never just do your own life. Like, maybe they like the fame a little bit, but then you can never really just go down the street or go to the park without something or someone talking to you. It might be kind of difficult to find a spouse because they might just want, again, to be with you for XYZ, for money or fame or for their career or so many other things. It might be harder to find a genuine person that really loves you without all the things that you could do, but just for who you are. Or would you want to, maybe it's a friend of yours that you see and you just want to have their life because maybe their marriage is incredible, and maybe the kids that you've always wanted. You see them and their life situation, and the wife doesn't work or something, and they live in this incredible house, and you just think that would be incredible. What a wonderful life. And you love their family, you love everything about their life, and you wish you had their life. But there's always going to be something, like the grass is always greener on the other side type situation, where there's stuff in their life that you don't know about, and you may not trade the stuff you don't like for the things that you do. And the same with being famous or having lots of money. You don't know what they deal with on a daily basis. It's probably really difficult, and not like your life where it might be easier on that same level or that same category of situations. So no matter who you would like to be or would want to be, all of the wonderful situations that this person has, you don't know what also would come with the package of being someone else. But the Lord knows who you are and who He made you to be. Right? He knows your thoughts and how you would react in any situation, in every situation, which is possibly why He made you the way you are, for your benefit and the world around you, because He loves you. I think when you put it in perspective that way, when you arrange it so you can see it clearly of, I don't know all the things that this person really genuinely deals with and how difficult that is. Maybe I wouldn't want those things. But again, you don't know those things. You don't know what they deal with. So maybe it's not worth it. You never know. But it does put in perspective of, all the worst things that are in my life, that doesn't, it's not that bad. I have a lot to be grateful for, a lot of people in my life that I love and love me very much, and my situations really aren't that bad, and I have a lot to be grateful for and thankful for, and I don't want to be, whoever. Why don't you like yourself, your life, your situation? Like, why would you want to be like somebody else? Is it because you don't like the people in your life or your job or what you're doing in your life? Is it that you wish you were doing something else, something you've seen other people doing? Why is it so hard to not like where you're at right now? Maybe your boss is hard to deal with. I understand that. And sometimes going to another boss, you're just gonna have a new boss, that is the same or similar or a different same situation. Can you change your situation to be something that you would like or that you would love? Are you able to take one step in that direction to have and to be in a life that you would always want? or you're looking at somebody else, you want someone else's life. Can you look at what you're doing in your life, and can you make one step in that direction today? And then tomorrow do that same step and another step. Or, take one more step the next day. You know what I mean? Depends on what it is. If you don't appreciate what you look like right now, there's lots of things you can do to change. Not necessarily change what you look like, your facial structure, all those things. Maybe you're a little overweight right now. Well, that can be taken care of. That can be, you can change that, you can make one step in the direction that you would like to look like, every single day, making good choices with what you're eating, all these things. Maybe you haven't met, maybe you're not with the friends that you would like. Maybe you have friends that aren't really that good for you. Well, I've heard this quote that said, like, you want to be who, like, I have heard this quote. I don't know. I was thinking of the quote and then I completely forgot. But the quote I was originally thinking about, I just forgot. But be the change you want to see, obviously. But you start to look like your friend. So choose who you want to be friends with and start to be that, like that. And then you'll start to see people that are like that gravitate towards you, if that makes sense. Like is attracted to like. You can see the quality of your friends. You tend to be like the people you surround yourself with. So be sure to surround yourself with good people. And if you see that, these people aren't great, well, maybe you need to find new people, get involved, these types of things. Oftentimes people will say, I've just had deja vu. And deja vu is the Lord's way of telling you that you're in the right place at the right time. And sometimes we feel like our situation is wrong, or we're not where we're supposed to be, or we're not supposed to be living here. We're not supposed to be in this job. I'm supposed to be somewhere else, doing something else, But when you have that deja vu moment, you can be sure that the Lord is saying, hey, no matter what you're going through, like where you're at, like I got you. We're going in the direction we need to go. Sometimes we wonder if we're in the right place, but the Lord is saying, no, you are in the right place at the right time, and I'm doing something in your life, So, yeah, I just also, sometimes it feels like we want to be somewhere else, or like we feel like my life just could never be XYZ, But you always can make a change, number one. Always. You can always make a change and shift and turn in a different direction if you feel like it's not going in the direction you want it to be. It's never too late. And then also, if it's not the people, sometimes sometimes in our lives we feel like the people, like our family, is not the right thing. Well, the family is your family. So maybe the Lord put this person and this person in your family for a reason, because there's something he's doing in your life and their life, So there might be a reason why you're in the situation you're in. Maybe so you can overcome it. Maybe so you can learn something. Maybe the Lord cares about your heart more than you being comfortable, if that makes sense. He cares more about your heart than and the status of your heart and how you I had to yawn. Think and feel or think and all these things and your attitude. So I mean, my next question is, why do you want something quote unquote better? Like I said in the first, who do you want to be? But like you don't know. You might see something on Instagram or TikTok or something and think, oh, their life is so amazing. You're only seeing less than a blink of their life. And yeah, what you see might be amazing. And maybe there are super amazing things in their life. But you don't see what it looks like when they're behind closed doors. What their life looks like. You don't see, when the cameras are off, what their life looks like and who they're around and who they're involved with and what their situation is left all the time. You only see when it's the highlight reel of their life. They're only showing you what is good, the best parts of good of their life. So you might think so-and-so's life is better, but you don't know what they go through and what they're having to deal with. That you feel like what you're dealing with is worse than what they're dealing with, because you actually don't know what they're actually dealing with and what they have to go through on a daily basis. You may actually hate it, and you may never know. This could be even a friend. You're wishing your life was like somebody else's, but even if they're a friend, you most likely don't know what their life is like when you leave, because they could be very intimate with you and you could be really good friends with them. But you don't know what it's like when you're not there because you're not there. So, again, I digress. It may not be better what you're looking at, And let's say you do change and live a different life, which we cannot, but if you could, what would really change? Because if you're going through something in your heart and you feel like depressed, let's say, and then you change lives with somebody and you have a completely different life, would it really change? Considering if something that you're dealing with is depression and you want somebody else's life to fix that, would it change it? It may not. So it may be something that you need to work on in your heart with the Lord, in your quiet time with the Lord. Reading the Word, asking the Lord questions, letting Him speak to you. Maybe it's something in your heart that needs to be changed in you. And it doesn't matter whose lives you change with or what you do or even things you accomplish or change and become. You still may need to deal with that whatever in your heart. I mean, you can do that by just simply talking to the Lord, and He will tell you the things of heaven. He will. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, the Lord actually made you to be you. And I have thought these thoughts of, I wish I had their life instead of my own, whoever's life. I wish I was them instead of who I am. But when it all comes down to it, I mean, the Lord made you and they made me just very unique, very different than your neighbor. You and I are very different, but that's what makes it great. And I heard someone, I don't know if I'm going to explain this very well. I don't even know if I have the correct explanation. I heard someone say, when you compare yourself, it's like to somebody else, it's like comparing the ocean to the sun. There's really no comparison. You can't compare the ocean to the sun because they're completely different. There's no way you can compare them. They're both made incredibly important to our ecosystem. And God created them with their own specific importance. Yeah, there's a lot of scary things in the ocean. Yeah, there's crazy depths we've never reached in the ocean. Yeah, there's whatever in the ocean. Poisonous things, all these things that may not be the brightest, greatest things. But the ocean is such a beautiful place that also holds many beautiful and incredibly fascinating animals. A wonderful place for humans to enjoy and spend time swimming at the beach and looking at its wonderful creatures and just enjoying floating on the water in the sun, And then you have the sun. Yeah, sure. If you got near it, you would die. If you got probably miles and miles away from it, you would die. If you're here, you can die if you sit in the sun too long, So, yeah, nobody can live on the sun. Yeah, the earth rotates around the sun. Whatever, you could say these things are negative things, but the sun also gives us light perfectly every single day, on time every single day. The sun gives us life, gives us joy, vitamin D. The sun brings life to our planet with plants that help us eat. People that don't get sunlight in the winter become clinically depressed, apparently. The sun is its own wonderful creation that is by no means can you compare the sun to the ocean. They're both beautiful and wonderful, and yeah, they have their flaws, but we need them both to live, and same with you and same with me. You cannot compare two kids in a classroom because there's no comparison. They grew up in two different worlds, two different cultures, two different lives. Maybe they both were born in the same country, but their home life cultures are completely different. They have all these wonderful things about each one, but they also have things that maybe aren't the best too going on, because we're all like that. But you genuinely cannot compare your life to somebody else, wishing that you were in somebody else's life, because the Lord made you to have this life. Even if you don't like that I'm saying that, and you hate that I'm saying that the Lord chose you for this life, this person, the way you look, everything matters, and it's important, and it has an impact on the impact that you will have on this world and this earth. So maybe take it with a grain of salt, maybe just a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, Maybe it's just what you need to hear. But all that to say, you are in the right place at the right time. You don't need to change lives with somebody else. As much as you might think their life would be way better than yours, whatever your favorite celebrity or your neighbor or whoever you're really wanting to live their life. Trust me, you have an incredible life right now where you're at, and it might not be how it is all for the rest of your life the way it is right now, whether that's good or bad, but the Lord's got you. You can count on Him. Maybe things haven't been always good in your life, but you can count on Him and His character being good. You can know that He is good. And the things that are going on in your life that may not be good doesn't mean that you can't hang your hat on the fact that He is good, Him being good. And He's got your back. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. It was my pleasure. Please subscribe and leave a review. It means so much. And share this with a friend. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye-bye.